On the morning of 20th September 2014, Josephine Nampewo, a third-born of 11 children, embarked on a life-changing journey from Mujungu village in Kakumiro district to African Rural University, a value-based all-women's institution in Kagadi district, Uganda. Here, she enrolled for a Bachelor's of Rural Development with an aim of becoming a rural transformation specialist.
My name is Nampewo Josephine. I'm a graduate of African Rural University. I got to know African Rural University in 2014, where I met two students from African Rural University, and it was during census training. After joining African Rural University, we were introduced to the fundamentals of the creative process, whereby we learn to envision the future that we want, assess the current reality in line with the vision, develop structural tension in order to bridge the discrepancy that is between the vision and the current reality, and then take actions towards achieving the vision. During the study, I was able to come up with a vision during my first year, and my vision was to have 1 acre of banana plantation mixed with coffee. And as I talk now, I kept my vision. It was in 2014, and in 2019, I was able to set up my banana plantation mixed up with coffee. During our practicum as African Rural University students, we go and we are hosted by the families of the parents of the URDT Girls School, where we go to learn on the fluency of the visionary approach. We find these families with the family visions, and we as students from African Rural University, we learn from the host families, and we also revisit their visions to see how far they have gone with them. After revisiting the vision of the host families, we then take actions together with the families. For example, in the areas of nutrition, in the areas of health, in the areas of agriculture. And in that, we work together with the communities surrounding the host families, whereby we organize and mobilize the village members. We sit together and then conduct community action planning, where the villages are able to envision the future that they want. During my practicum, I had a mentor, and that was an epicenter manager and a graduate of African Rural University who mentored me well, and she was working with the sub-county local government. After my 1 month practicum, I came back at campus at African Rural University. I was able to make my report, and after my report, I was able to present, and validation was made, and all the stakeholders, the chairperson RSU1, the sub-county stakeholders, and the epicenter manager, who was my mentor, we are all able to participate in that validation workshop.
Ask you, so one of the things that I found really interesting about that, part of the video was the fact that as an university student, you went and lived with the family of a girls' school student, and that family already had a vision. Can you tell us a little bit about the family and the student and what they had accomplished? And then you said you revisited the vision with them and helped them continue. Tell us more about that family.
Okay, thank you so much, Patty. On their vision, they had a permanent house. They had the vision of having enough food and also good sanitation and hygiene. And when I joined, the student was in P6, the student of URDT Girls School was in P6. And when I reached there, the first day we had a meeting with the family. First of all, we met, and from that meeting, I asked them about their vision. They brought it. We looked at it. And then on the items that were in the vision, I asked them what they had accomplished. And on the things that they had accomplished, one of them was the permanent house. They had the permanent house. They had a poultry project. And what they had not yet accomplished was the nutrition part of it. They had not set up the kitchen gardens. So together, I shared the knowledge and we set up the kitchen gardens, the basket garden, and also the sack gardening. So, and that one enabled them to improve on their nutrition and dieting. Then, as I talk now, the student of URDT Girls School of that host family that I lived in is now in senior 6. She's a candidate. She'll be sitting for her exams this year.
That's great.
Yes.
So tell me also how that family helped you get to know the other people in that community where you did your practicum, and how did you work with the community members to determine what they wanted to accomplish?
Okay, thank you so much. Now, the host father introduced me to the chairperson LC1 of Kinoni village. And we went to the chairman. The host father introduced me as an intern from African Rural University. And from there, we had a meeting together with the host father and the chairperson in regard to meeting the community members. So we organized and mobilized the community members. We had a meeting. We conducted community action planning on how they wanted their village to look like, the aspirations of their village. And from there, after aspiring for their community, then they assessed their current reality. And then I had to guide them in regard to the resources that are available, that are surrounding them. So we conducted resource mapping, moved around the village in line with their aspirations. Which resources do you think match together with your aspirations that can be utilized? The resources that are not utilized, but they can be tapped and then utilized. Yes.
And so give us an example of the kind of resources you helped them identify.
Okay, so in this regard, it was knowledge sharing from both sides. In the area of diseases, especially in the communities, there were herbal medicine that we looked at in the surrounding as we were moving on, that this treats this, this treats this. So we're identifying it together with the communities.
That's really
Yes,
interesting.
especially regarding the skin diseases.
Yeah. So you were able to help them identify herbal remedies that some of them knew about and some of them probably didn't know about.
Yes.
Okay. That's really
Looking at the 5 working premises of URDT and African Rural University. The one that talks about transcendency. People with a common vision can transcend traditional barriers caused by tribal, religious, political, and work towards achieving what they truly want. So that one taught me a lot, and also embracing diversity, the mental mottos, the perceptions that people have. So I had to transcend and embrace diversity and inclusivity. Yes. the knowledge that I had gained at African Rural University.
Great. That's really helpful. Thank you.
The validation and bringing all the stakeholders on board was to confirm that what I was presenting was really the impact that was created during the 1 month practicum and the lessons that I learned from the practicum. After my practicum, I continued with my classes in third year, and after my third year, I went back to the community during the fourth year to do internship and also conduct community-based participatory action research following the topic that I had gotten during my practicum. During internship, I worked in Chanaisoke sub-county, and together with the community members, I was able to conduct community action planning and participatory action research. I, as a student, and also the community members, we conducted transit walks together and also did resource mapping. We were able to identify actions towards achieving the village vision, and by then, we were able to identify the accountables for each action in order for the vision to be realized. The vision of Nyakabira village was to have permanent houses, educated children, have good nutrition, and also protect their environment, and also have saving and credit groups, 7 of them in their villages. And as I talk now, as an RTS, I'm so proud. I was able to visit those villages, and as I talk now, the groups are there, and also most of them achieved their visions.
After graduating, her path led her to the Uganda Rural Development and Training Program, URDT.
After my 4 years of study at African Rural University, I was able to graduate as a rural transformation specialist in 20.
I think it's described well in that video, but tell us a bit more. For example, you set up all those savings and loan associations. How did you know how to do that? And tell us a bit more about what those are, how they work.
Okay, thank you so much. Regarding my internship, during our study, we are trained on how to institutionalize the visionary approach and also embracing the principle of team learning and teamwork. So as an intern, I co-created together with the community members. Though I was leading the facilitation, but we would create together. So I conducted community action planning, and in that, people were able to learn on how the power of the vision works. So the community members came up with their visions, and in that, they had also a vision of starting up the savings and credit associations. And we started Chakataba Youth Group that had 30 members. And these youth groups, they were also learning the farmer family learning group. They would learn together, especially in the area of organic farming, and I would get support from URDT and African Rural University, people with expertise to come and also support me in orienting the community members in the area of organic farming, the remedies that can be used in regard to spraying the insects and the pesticides. Yes.
So then what you're describing is both a combination of organic farming practices and also the savings and loan groups that you started. What kind of things were people, how did those savings groups work? What did people save towards?
Okay, they would save every week between 5,000 and 10,000 each person.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the year, they would share the money, but then leave the shares to start the next year. They would also save 2,000 as part of contributing to the household utensils for each. So they would contribute that 2,000, each person brings 2,000, and they collect it and give it to one person. And that person buys the utensils for the family.
If I may interrupt,
Yes.
$2,000 is like $1 and something like almost $2. I'm trying to interpret for people in America. And 5,000 is like $1, almost $2, and 2,000 is exactly $1. So yeah, so that's the saving they were making, just to put it out there. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That's very helpful. So, in that internship, Josephine,
Yes, please.
what would you say you're proudest of accomplishing during that internship in your senior year?
Okay, thank you so much. What stood out for me is that people gave me attention. They would listen to me regardless of my age at that time. People would listen to what I was training them in, and they would embrace it and even take action. And when I reflect back and make a reflection of the groups, they are still there doing well. And when they meet me, they really appreciate and say, thank you so much for the great work. We are really harvesting your fruits.
That's wonderful. So, in the course of your African Rural University talks about the fact that 60% of your college education, your university education, is theory and 40% is practice. And you've described two areas of practice, your practicum, where you went and stayed with the girls' school family and worked with that family and the community for a short time, and then your internship during your senior year, where you work with a larger community and did many more projects. So that's a pretty impressive contribution, it seems to me, to by the time that you've graduated, how many people's lives do you think you actually impacted?
By the time I graduated, actually, in my internship, I worked with Kinoni Village, Chiakatava Village. I worked with the Kinwatava Village, Nyakavira Village, and Kianaisoke Village. So I worked with 5 villages during my internship, and also with 6 groups. So in a maximum of, I touched lives of 200 people.
That's fantastic. We'll start again.
At URDT, Josephine was posted as an epicenter manager to rural communities to catalyze rural transformation based on the visionary approach.
Immediately after my graduation, I was employed by URDT to work in Indaiga sub-county, which is a hard-to-reach area. But by the guidance of African Rural University, using the 3 masteries, the mastery of the principles of the creative process, the mastery of the principles of system thinking, and the mastery of the principles of sustainable development, I was able to transform Indaiga sub-county. When I reached in Indaiga sub-county, the community members were lamenting of problems about the thieves, about poor roads, about children not going to school. But as a rural transformation specialist, what I did was, together with the chairperson LC1, we mobilized the community members and we conducted a meeting. And through that, I introduced them to the visionary approach, whereby instead of focusing on problems, I told them, let's have a community vision. And as I talk now, through partnerships, the road of Undaiga sub-county was constructed, and even the children are going to school. An entrepreneur came up and set up a secondary school. And as a rural transformation specialist, I'm so happy about that. From Undaiga sub-county, I was transferred to Chiboga district under the Young Africa Works Uganda project. This project is implemented in 20 districts of Midwestern Uganda and Central Uganda. And it is in also 4 refugee settlements.
As an epicenter manager, Josephine's work took her to many places, but none was more significant than her time in Kabarole district. It was here that she led a project focused on promoting harmony between humans and wildlife based on the 3 masteries of creative process, systems thinking, and sustainable development, all disseminated by all Aru graduates.
We have been working with Kibale National Park, partnering with Uganda Wildlife Authority since 2021 up to 2023. Now we are embarking here back to see the progress of the way how human beings are living in harmony with the wildlife.
Mwaka gwa 2022 bafuna omugisa gw'okuheebwa emiti eno sasa egyo twagifuna twabyala emiti eno obwa URDT etuyamba twabyala ati emiti yona saazino ekuzire obukurola emiti eno saazino egenzere nekora ka 9 njego ndazamu okuba ningirora nk'okweri na nambere yaheka nindorora kimungu ebiroto byange biri mu kwikirira habwokuba sente zikujja kubanizirwa mu miti muno nyingi kandi omugaso tutaferwa hakusoma kwaitu kikaba kirungi hakuba ekigendera kyaitu kyali ky'okulinda ebyobuhangwa n'okunywanisa itu abantu n'ebisoro tuli baanigwa bapaako
ibanira kambanyeta Asimu Robert omu kitebe kya Mugusi Environment and Social Committee ninkora nk'omuhandiki ninsiima ekitongole kya URDT undi kya Uganda Rural Development Program ekyatoye coordinator Miss Josephine wasoboye kutwegesa okukwatagine n'enkolakolana orulengo rw'ekyaro tukatandika hanyuma yo kupikinga interest mu Josephine hanyuma yo kutwegesa kumara akaira akake kukuyatwegeseze nayo tukasoboye kutandikaho kukuyahura nk'abantu omu kwezi kwa 11 mwaka 2021 tukasoboye kutandika tuli bantu ana na babiri tukatandika ntusevinga kuruga hankumi 5 kugarukira mutwaro gumu ubu kwahura kuronka ninihera n'abantu akaba mu obuyonjo mbyobonezi bukagenda mu maiso kurungi no mu kusomesa abana bikeyongeraho.
This new forest fauna and population balance project that was started in 2021 in the district of Kabarole, targeting 2 sub-counties of Busoro and Akivale, was as a result of increased human-wildlife conflict, where the population neighboring or the community neighboring our forest of Kivale here were always in conflict and hunting down animals, and also they were using different chemicals which were not good, and as a result the population of our animals was going very low. So they came in to complement on efforts of other partners to ensure that the community that is neighboring these forests, first of all, is empowered in form of skills and also given the necessary inputs to be able to increase its production and productivity, and also to be able to change their overall mindset. So here, 2 communities of Sebitori and also Mugusu surrounding Kibale National National Park from the side of Busoro sub-county were supported, and here we had over 149 community members who were trained, who are youth, and who were eventually linked up to other skilling programs. We saw that there is a change of mindset, and also these community members were able to learn how to save and also learn how to practice what I can call agriculture that doesn't conflict a lot with human, and also be engaged in enterprises like beekeeping or apiary, and also boost their incomes by producing various crops that went ahead to improve on their income.
To date, the communities are still supported by other URDT projects.
We've worked with URDT at the different projects. Where I have directly worked is the Young Africa Works, where we have worked in different aspects, especially as the gender officer. This project basically is aiming at skilling our young people in various fields, the different sectors that URDT is implementing.
My name is Moses Tumsabe. I'm a resident of Chawankada village, neighboring Kivale National Park. I'm a graduate of URDT. I specialized in beekeeping. Now, this is my project. After graduating as a beekeeper, I made a vision. I started up my own business. Now this is my apiary. In here I have 25 beehives, and I'm planning to add on more as going on. From this project, I've managed to do a lot. Like every season, in a year we have 2 seasons, but every season I can earn up to 500. When I've harvested my honey, refined it and packed it.
Despite the progress, challenges persist. Many still face the threat of wildlife destroying their crops. It is a constant battle and the frustrations are real.
nizitutalibaniza kakubaza okaya abanyambabazi abasobola kutuyamba namunito abali habutano na paka bakatuleterayo waya za masanyalazi zikaija zikatuyamba nokwendeza zikaleka kutujja kutulira ebyokulya byaitu.
Like in the northern part of Kiva National Park, we've been having cases of elephants crop riding. So when these staffs of URDT came, we were collaborating with them on sensitizing people to respond to cases of human-wildlife conflicts, that those are elephants. And we are teaching them on how to plant their own environment, especially the trees. So URDT would bring trees and they supply to communities, and the communities were able to reduce pressure on the forests.
Back at Aru, she is now a resourceful persons officer, a mentor, inspiring the next generation of rural development leaders. The story of Josephine is a testament that with support, rural girls can transcend all barriers and cause transformation at a wider scale.
Currently, African Rural University is being supported by African Food and Peace Foundation, Mustard Seed Trust, Carnage Social Initiative, and other friends that are passionate in creating change in the communities. And as African Rural University grows, we therefore seek for more support from people that are very passionate in transforming the rural communities. Looking ahead, my vision is to become a professor and do my PhD in rural development and rural transformation.
Okay, well, that's quite a lot of accomplishments, Josephine.
Thank you.
I'm sure many of our people in the audience have questions for you about all the things we just saw. So I would encourage any of you to unmute yourselves and jump in. My first question is about the animals in the animal preserve. I thought it was really interesting that even with your help and all the work that the community did, they were still having difficulty with the elephants coming and eating their crops. What role did the tree seedlings play in helping to relieve that pressure?
Okay, thank you so much. In regard to the trees, first of all, the 4 villages that I worked with, they were looking at protecting the environment to live in harmony with wildlife after being sensitized in the visionary approach, and also on the importance of living in harmony with wildlife. So these groups, their names is, for example, we have Mogusu Environmental and Social Committee. We have Chawankada Environmental and Social Committee. We have Chansimbi Environmental and Social Committee, and Sevitori Environmental and Social Committee. So these groups, after sensitizing them about the importance of living in harmony with wildlife, first of all, wildlife, they are the ones that build the forest. So as they keep moving on and as they defecate, the seeds remain and they hope in growing and building the forest for the generation to come, and would sensitize them that the forest, we don't take their manure, but the forest wood and the soils are very fertile. So it's the forest that keeps, it's the wildlife that keeps the forest. And the forest helps us in breathing, helps us in bringing rainfall. So we sensitized them on the importance of living in harmony with wildlife. And then on the trees were given to the people. We supplied 1,000 trees to the community members. First of all, we gave them Grevillea trees, and the Grevillea trees add moisture in the soil. And when they grow, their leaves, when they fall, they provide manure to the crops, or they add manure in the soil. So when they do the intercropping, the aspect of system thinking come in, the different crops support each other. So, and when they grow, these community members are not able to go to encroach on the forest to get firewood, but they can get the firewood from the trees that they have planted themselves, and also earn money, earn income from the trees after they have grown. Thank you.
That's great. That's really helpful.
And another thing that I wanted to add on, Patty.
Yes, please.
Yes, so when we are in the communities, when I was in the community, I did not work alone. I worked together with the epicenter manager during my internship, and also the sub-county stakeholders, to understand more on how the local government structures work. I would participate in the technical planning committees, participate in the budget conferences, and also council meetings. I would work as an influencer, a policy influencer on behalf of the community members. After them sharing their aspirations during the meetings that would have, especially the community action planning meetings, they would have their aspirations, maybe good health, maybe good roads, hygiene, clean and safe water. So I would share that during the council meetings and also the budget conference meetings. so that they can prioritize their aspirations and also incorporate it in the 5-year strategic plan for the sub-county.
And did you find
Thank you.
that the county officials were open to the priorities that you presented from the community members? Did they pay attention to those?
Okay, thank you so much. On that case, they would look at the different villages and then they would prioritize the need according to the community needs.
Yeah.
Yes, and most of the time, whenever I would present that, they would listen. Thank you.
So one of the things I remember hearing from other epicenter managers was that sometimes the officials they worked with at the sub-county or the district level were not always people who were honest or sober or hardworking. Did you have any?
Yeah, that's very true. Most of the times, the local government stakeholders don't normally go on the ground regularly. So we, as epicenter managers, we always go on ground, meet with the communities. That's why we bring their aspirations during the meetings and they listen, because for them, most of the times, they don't regularly go there. So they would listen to us. Yes, and what I can say is the epicenter managers are doing great jobs in the sub-counties, and also those stakeholders, they appreciate and use the reports of the epicenter managers to do the reporting.
Yes.
For me, it's not more of a question, but a commentary. This shows this is very important work. There are things our government cannot do. So they build a gap between what the government should be doing actually, and how do the people of the rural communities benefit. It's not enough that the government help does not reach the people in urban areas, but let alone the rural areas. And to see that these epicenter managers, on top of that, go to the villages, and also the government, the local council, the government also use them to come and teach, you see how they are very important in the development of the rural communities. That is why this is very imperative to go wider in other rural communities beyond Western Uganda. I remember in the last Zoom meeting when Ephraim suggested, not only Ephraim, but I've seen so many people suggest that it has to go beyond Western Uganda to Africa. So it's very, very important. And these girls transform so much. In a nutshell, how many people have been transformed during your internship? Like just a ballpark.
Okay. During my internship, a total of 1,000 people.
Internship after you graduated and you were out working as an epicenter manager, how many people did you impact, do you think?
Okay, so in total, I worked in different places, first of all. So in a nutshell, the total of the people that I have touched, I think is 10,000 in the 5 years that I've worked.
10,000?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Then you asked about the graduate that you saw in the video of Young Africa Works.
Yes.
So when I went to Kabarole to coordinate the project that was looking at harmonizing the coexistence between humans and wildlife, in the villages that I worked with surrounding Kibale National Park, there were young people that were lamenting. There are those that were not going to school. They were encroaching on the forest, going to get firewood. trapping wildlife. So when I went there, I oriented the community members, and I first coordinated the two projects, the Young Africa project and then the Fofa Pop project. So I made sure that I got artisans from those real villages that I was working with in harmonizing the coexistence between humans and wildlife, and then the young people also. So the artisans in those real villages were employed by URDT Institute in the sectors of agriculture, tourism, and construction. And over 642 young people neighboring Kibale National Park benefited from the Young Africa Works Uganda project, integrated with the project that was looking at harmonizing the coexistence between humans and wildlife.
Christine, she says, I have appreciated the idea of host families. Can the university send them to the central districts of Uganda? And correct me if I'm wrong, Paddy, we normally work in the rural areas, but Patty can add on that. Or somebody from African Rural University, Ephraim, you can help us. So.
Well, the host families are typically the families of the graduates of the girl or both current girls' school students and former girls' school students' families. So the girls' school students are recruited from rural communities. Typically, one family in one community is eligible at one time. And then the girls' school has over 200 students. So over time, we've managed to expand the reach of the number of students who've been able to attend the girls' school and the families that have been impacted. And so that community keeps growing. But you're right, Tatra, that really the focus is on host families of girls who attend the URDT Girls' School being the place that the African Rural University students are housed and hosted also in rural communities, because our focus is teaching rural transformation and sustainable agriculture for rural communities. So my thought is, as this whole idea expands across Uganda and across Africa, and by the way, we're already in over 22 districts in Uganda, and at least 2 to 3 refugee settlements as well. So I would imagine that expansion is going to go through most of Uganda, and now we also have at Aru students who come to us from other countries. So hopefully they'll be taking these same ideas back to their home countries.
We are running out of time. Moses is asking, how does the two-generation approach work in rural development in Bunyoro region?
In the Bunyoro region. So the two-generation approach, of course, is what's taught at the URDT Girls' School and then ripples through the rest of the communities, as you've heard from Josephine's description. So each of the students at the URDT Girls' School, starting at age 10, works with their family to create a household vision and to do back home projects with their families to increase the number of crops they're growing, the type of agriculture they're doing, do family businesses, improve sanitation, improve nutrition. So typically, by the time the girl graduates from the URDT Girls' School as a senior, their whole family has moved from poverty to middle class. And we see that over and over and over again, that these families are very prosperous and they've become role models in their communities. That two-generation approach could be replicated throughout the world. It doesn't have to be done only in rural areas of Uganda.
I wanted to add something to that, if I may.
Thank you, Robert. Please.
Yeah, it's not simply that their economic situation changes, their whole orientation changes as the family joins together in a collective creative process. And that's very different in terms of their relationships with each other and their ability to express their love for each other and their more profound relationships as a family. And that's one of the things that has been really quite powerful and positive.
Yeah, you're right. I think the gender equality that was talked about earlier is also, the fact that families sit and plan together, and that, what had been a culture that was really where women were, seen but not heard and not really leading, has now become much more egalitarian culture. And these young women are really doing an amazing job of transforming their families and their culture.
Yes, about the traditional wisdom specialists. As African Rural University, we really acknowledge the work of the traditional wisdom specialists, and we would appreciate if we took it at a different level. When the Nourishment Economy Summit, International Nourishment Economy Summit, was hosted by African Rural University and URDT in February, there are different actions that were looked at. And one of them was the indigenous knowledge aspect. So I'm an accountable person for that, and we developed a concept note to have a resource center that is established in an African development context for environmental conservation, looking at having herbal medicine, setting up a processing unit, conducting research, and also having publications, looking at the different diseases and the different herbal medicines that can cure different diseases. So we want to take that up, and we really seek for more support in regard to
That's great.
that, so that we can be able to take it at a different level as a university. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a great place to end our conversation.